Welcome back to Convos presented by Blackmagic Design. I'm one of your hosts, Timothy Reese of Brooklyn Quarter, and we're excited to be partnering with the League of Filmmakers and the Cinematography for Actors to bring you this live stream directly from the Gaslamp District in downtown San Diego. Our next guest is a wonderful human being, Bill Rehor. Bill Rehor serves as host and co-creator and producer of the TV show Faster Purple Worm Kill Kill, airing on the Dungeons & Dragons Adventures Fast channel. He's also a co-founder of Beadle Grimm, a company dedicated to creating immersive gaming experiences for acclaimed franchises, such as Dungeons & Dragons, Magic the Gathering, and Critical Role, among others. Bill's first venture into original board game design, Ring of Chaos, will be published by Beadle Grimm later this year. Welcome to Convos, Bill.
I picked the perfect time to take a drink of water.
Right,
thank you. Yes, thank
that
you
was the timing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here. Firstly, I want to ask you, how are you doing at the con so far?
Excellent. We were at a really cool party for RPG creators last night. Got to see, every one of these things is sort of a, it feels like sort of a high school reunion kind of thing, where you see people that you only see at the cons or special events or whatever. So just really fun to catch up with people and, find out what everybody's working on. So
I actually have, that launches right into a question I have. So I've been in the D&D space live on camera for like 7 or 8 years now, right?
Okay.
And with RPG parties in particular, it's a very interesting set of conversations that happen.
Yep.
Because you have people that are there because they are fans of the medium. You have people there that are creators of products. And you have people there that are just hardcore RPG nerds, right?
Yep.
Do you find that when you're talking to people, it's like 70% world exposition whenever you talk to someone who just immediately launches into, listen, I have a new fantasy world. It's called Expathier. And in it, all the dragons are cats. And it's like 15 minutes later. I
love those conversations.
Okay.
It's funny. I used to dread them. When we first started doing cons, you'd have, like a person would come up to you and start telling you about a world or just their character or whatever. And you don't quite know what your part of that conversation is really, other than great dragons or cats. That sounds fantastic. But now I kind of love it. Like I've come to recognize how important it is for RPGs in general to just keep finding new ways of experiencing them, new sort of personalized worlds and just approaches and tones and everything else. And, that's what's going to be important to the longevity of this hobby. So, when people have come up with something cool, they want to talk about it. I'm like, that's great. It's just a sign of the, the sort of vitality of the hobby, I guess.
Yeah, and I feel like it's always, anytime someone's passionate about something, it's always an easier conversation.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's just tough when they quiz you later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
so as you remember my character's
please
name.
don't hold me to it. But yeah, for sure. No, it's it's fun. It's good.
And this is a big seminal year for RPGs because it's the 50th anniversary of Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah.
Which is astounding.
Right. It's funny how I think for younger people such as yourself, it seems astounding. And for me, it's like, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's been there my whole life. So I'm old, so of course it's old. But no, it's cool. It's a fun thing to celebrate. It's fun to kind of take the opportunity to look back at where the hobby started and the progress that it's made. I mean, there's lots of things that you can look back on from, the 80s and quibble about. But it, for me, it's not like, I don't look back at that stuff and look at it as a negative. I look back at it as a benchmark of how vital the hobby is, how much progress it makes, how everybody is contributing to it to make it something better. And that's awesome. That's a really cool thing. And I hope the people who are younger, who weren't around during those periods, we'll take a moment and go back and look at that stuff and just to get a sense of what the sort of arc of it all has been.
I've only played one game of second edition.
Okay.
I came in 5th edition, right? Like that was my introduction.
Okay.
I wanted to play 4th edition. I couldn't find anybody. And so
no comment.
Yeah. So, but I came in with 5th edition, and we ended up through an odd series of events. Danielle and I ended up at this high school in Manhattan on a Saturday for this like school fair in the middle of the winter. It's like a fundraiser.
Okay.
It's the Arts High School of Manhattan. And like, this is like a enormous high school, big building.
Okay.
And in it, in the basement, Stefan Picorni of Dwarven Forge,
okay,
alumni of this high school, had built an 8 by 12 foot long terrain table and was running a meat grinder.
Oh, that's genius.
So I get there, I wanted to meet Stefan. We've already been corresponding online and everything. And he's like, oh, I'm so excited you're going to be playing. This is going to be great. I sit down and he immediately kills me. Like immediately.
Right.
And then has to pull me aside, like, almost with like tears in his eyes. Like this sort of like, I'm so sorry. I know this was your first time playing.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
Because, but if you could just sit down, I'll try to get back in. Yeah.
That's hysterical. Yeah. It's not always like that.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about something so the title of this segment, I don't know if we told you the title of this segment.
No, I'm so excited to hear
Elevating RPGs.
Okay.
Right? Because
sure.
I really feel like that lands exactly with what your work has been the last several years.
Okay.
Between Beadle and Grimm's and Faster Purple Worm Kill Kill. Because in both of those, you have taken very, very, very established franchises.
Yep.
Right? The idea of by franchises, I mean the experience of playing on a tabletop game.
Yep.
And the experience of watching a tabletop show.
Yeah.
Right? Because even though tabletop shows it's still kind of a niche hobby, kind of. Like some of them have really grown to the point where they have like Amazon series.
Yeah.
So I wanna go back with you for a second to Beadle and Grimm's.
Okay.
And the idea of an elevated experience. And I should explain this. So for those who are not familiar with this, if you play Dungeons & Dragons, typically you can play it with just a piece of paper and a pencil and some dice. That's really all that's normally required. And what Bill and the co-founders of Beadle and Grimm's have done is they have taken the essence of playing in these campaign settings that are published by Wizards of the Coast and created this. I mean, it really is like a treasure chest, but a real one. Like as a kid growing up, you find these like weird gift boxes at like an airport shop, like, and it's something. It's all a bunch of like cheap tchotchkes. What you have is not that at all.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you, like, do you remember like the exact moment when you looked at how you were playing at a table and thought, we could just do this way better? Was it like an instantaneous? Like, what was that process?
Yeah, I mean, I do remember it very specifically. We had my friends and I, Matt Lillard, John Ciccolini, Paul Shapiro, and my brother Charlie.
All delightful humans.
Thank you. Yes, they're passable. So we had been, we've been friends forever, and we had been talking for a while about trying to find some kind of project to work on together. And since we all played D&D together, that seemed like a natural thing to go to. We wanted it to be, we envisioned this as sort of a midlife crisis hobby sort of thing. So we were looking for something that we genuinely enjoyed, would be passionate about, would have fun working on.
Yeah.
So we were talking about D&D sort of related products, and I had remembered Matt Lillard directed an indie film called Fat Kid Rules the World. And he was fortunate enough to get Mike McCready, the guitarist for Pearl Jam, to do the score for it. And so when they were trying to raise money for distribution for that movie, Mike McCready had donated some signed box sets for the first 3 Pearl Jam albums, I think they were. And I bought one immediately because I'm a huge fan and I was excited about it. And I was looking at that and I was thinking, there's this sort of opportunity for very dedicated fans of music to indulge in their fandom at a higher level, in this sort of more immersive, more engaged, more personal experience. And at the time, there really wasn't a whole lot like that for role-playing games. Now, we're not the only ones who figured that out, and now there are Dwarven Forge, you mentioned, is one of them. There are more and more companies sort of realizing that and moving into that space of trying to provide elevated tabletop experiences. But that's really where it came from, was just like, I'm a super fan of this hobby. I have maybe more money than I have time to create these things on my own.
Yeah.
What would I really love to see at the table? And then, the other thing that we talk about that I think we started to notice in more recent years was, even amongst ourselves, we would see ourselves sitting around a table and you'd see people pulling out their phones, or just getting distracted. And we started thinking about, okay, what is the thing that can keep people immersed in it all the time, like on a really regular, sort of constant, enjoyable level. And I think what we're hoping for is that all of these elements, whether it's just a theme DM screen so that you've got the art of the adventure that you're running right there in front of you that kind of keeps reminding you of where you are, what you're doing, what your purpose is, any kinds of in-world handouts and things that bring you in and make you feel like, oh, here's this map that I actually just found and I can hold it and I can work on it.
Tear it up in frustration.
Anytime that it always feels like a wasted opportunity anytime that you get like a any kind of a puzzle or something that you as a group need to sort of solve, figure out, work on together, when it's just something that somebody has to sort of describe or explain to you. I mean, you can do it in a wonderful way, and I'm not diminishing that, but sometimes there is something really wonderful about something that you can put at the table in front of everybody that brings everybody's focus together onto this one thing, where you and I as players, instead of me looking at my character sheet and you focusing on something else, that you and I are then both going, okay, here's this map, here's this puzzle, here's this piece of art. We got to figure this out together, you and I. And that's a cool experience that we just wanted to, hopefully amplify for people.
I think that is the magic of RPGs. I think that moment when you cross that bridge.
Yeah.
Because describing it to people, like describing playing, like when we were doing our show in Brooklyn and we did like 130 live episodes, right?
Yeah.
And I had friends who had not watched, who would ask, like, so you sit around a table and talk? Yeah. And they're like, well, like, who chooses what you talk about? And I was like, okay, this is like, because I can't explain the neuroscience of how this works, what happens in the Gestalt sort of group think when you have people that are on a common purpose. But there's nothing like that tactility for getting players like to actually lock in to what they're doing. And when you see it happen, like when you see people like actually pick up an object and experience real fear at like a magic item that they're holding, right? They're holding it. They could throw it, right, if they wanted, but they're still holding it like, what is this going to do to me, right? And that's whenever you've locked into that real life theater. Like you're all on the stage now. This is it. And I have to say, like, I just love, I love the aspect of what Beadle Grimm has, because I feel like it's always nice whenever someone is setting such a high bar for an experience. It's really good. Like, we're not sponsored by them, so. But we would. No, don't worry about that. No, but like, no, but like, it's really an incredible, like what I love is that when the campaigns are done, you've created something that players can then display as trophies too. And there's something to that that's just really, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Thank you.
It's like a service. It's a service.
That's what it is. Yes.
Yes. So, and like, I also want to talk about the other experiences that you've elevated, which is Faster Purple Worm Kill Kill.
Okay.
Would you like, your log line of this is actually fantastic. Would you like to describe Because being at the live show, like, would you like to describe kind of the audience pitch of what they're about to see?
Okay, yeah. Now you're putting me on the what was my log line?
You can paraphrase yourself.
Yeah, I don't even remember what I said. So the idea of Faster Purple Worm Kill Kill is a group of first level characters full of hopes and dreams and visions for their heroic future, come into conflict with one of the most legendary and most powerful creatures in D&D lore.
Yeah.
And they're instantly killed. And so the idea is...
You nailed it, by the way.
Okay, good. Thank you. So the idea is we get all of the sort of the joy of the role playing and the characters getting introduced and seeing this sort of band of people come together to a common purpose, without all the hassle of actually like trying to survive for a long period of time. So there's a million ways to do live play RPG, and I think it's still a very, very much sort of an evolving art form as people are sort of figuring out that, okay, it's not quite enough to just point a camera at your home game and call that a live play RPG. I mean, it is technically, but if you're looking to try to move it into the realm of being entertainment, I think it does deserve another level of thought and attention and care. To say, well, okay, like what can I do? What can I do to bring people in? What can I do to make them feel like they're getting a unique experience out of what this thing is that I'm doing, more than just what story am I telling? But and people have found a million ways to do it. For us personally, what we were focused on was trying to find a way to give people a genuine sort of authentic experience of D&D without the sort of long-term commitment of, am I really going to watch this for 3 hours at a time every week for the next 2 years to try to follow this story? Like, that's great for some people, and for some people that's a really daunting sort of challenge to commit to, right?
And there are the super users that watch like multiple shows a week.
Yeah.
Which is just,
they are amazing.
I appreciate
humans.
you. But I can't.
Yeah.
It's like when you make a show, you don't watch any other shows. Like, you have no time.
I know. God, no. Yeah. So, I guess you could, sort of reductively call us the CSI of Dungeons and Dragons, which, I'll accept. But no, for us, I do think I hope that there's something genuine about it. We are all people who are very much in love with this. We're not mocking the art form.
Yeah.
It's, for us, this is a love letter to Dungeons and Dragons and everything that makes it fantastic. And the opportunity to have a rotating cast where we're bringing in new people every time because we're not telling an ongoing story.
Yeah.
Has been like one of the greatest experiences about it, because just this opportunity to work with all of these different people in the live play RPG industry, and then also pulling in some people who aren't D&D people, and just being able to say, look, you're going to die in an hour anyway. You don't really need to know the rules all that well. You're going to be fine. Yeah. And some of the greatest moments of the TV show are those moments of watching a non-D&D person go, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
You can see that light go on and go, oh, I see how this works.
I get to attack every round.
Yeah. And just like, oh, this is just like acting. This is just like, you bring an actor in there who isn't familiar with role-playing games, and they go, oh, I'm just playing a character. I'm just talking to people and having a good time as if I am this person. And as long as I'm sort of true to the moment and the stakes that that this character is experiencing, then the rest of it is just sort of free and fun and knock yourself out.
It's delightful. People can catch it on the D&D Fast channel.
Yeah. And so now we're kind of moving into a more regular live show schedule. So we're doing a live show here at Comic-Con. Great. We're doing a big live show at Gen Con, and then at the Comedy Store in Hollywood. We're all based in LA. Where we've just started sort of a regular show there at the Comedy Store. So the first Sunday of every month, we're doing a live show at the Comedy Store. So
I got the invite, and I was wondering if it was one. So I'm glad it's not.
Yeah, well, it was. It was. Okay. I mean, we had to prove ourselves. So we did one show there, and it went really well. We sold it out, and everybody had a great time, and we didn't trash the place. So they have very graciously invited us back. So we're going to be doing some regular gigs there and try to sort of build up some attention for it. So I'm hoping that works out.
So as we get to the end, because we're getting down to the last few minutes for this, would you like to tell our dear audience about your lovely board game that we backed on Kickstarter that I'm very excited to receive?
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, would you like to tell our audience about your next endeavor?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't have as good a pitch for a board game. It's hard to pitch a board game, isn't it? Right? Yeah. It's hard to describe something that. So it's called Ring of Chaos. It's something that we developed internally over the last couple of years, and it's part of the. I'm going to get too long on this, but part of the fun of working for Beadle and Grimm's and all of us working together is that we all try to find. In addition to sort of the regularly scheduled stuff that we work on and that we know we're going to be doing, we all try to kind of have our little side passion project that and most of them turn out to be nothing, and you kind of throw it out there and everybody goes, yeah, well, okay, whatever.
It's a good practice, though.
Yeah, it is. It's important, I think, in a creative environment to not get too locked into like specific journeys, specific goals, to try to allow yourself a little bit of space to just throw random shit at the wall and see what happens. So this was one of those where I just kind of came up with this idea and I threw it out to the guys, and they were encouraging and gave me a lot of good feedback. And we all sort of, at our sort of quarterly retreats where we all get together in the same house, we would keep playing different iterations of it and figuring it out. And it's an interesting sort of mix of some RPG elements, some card game elements, some board game elements, but it's we have a really fun time with it. The Kickstarter was very successful. We're really grateful to everybody who backed it, and thank you as well.
Very welcome.
So that starts shipping this month.
Awesome.
We're actually.
I'm sure that hasn't been stressful at all.
No, not at all. No. Development is easy.
Kickstarter board games. Oh my
God. Yeah. No, but it's actually, everything's gone pretty smoothly, and we're actually, I haven't even mentioned this on the Kickstarter page yet, but just between you, me, and the wall, we're actually already deep into developing the first expansion for it.
Cool.
So we've hired this amazing artist named Lauren Addy, who is doing all of the artwork for the entire set. So it has this really unified theme to it and look to it. That's coming across. It's coming out really, really well, and we've got some fun new little tweaks on the rules and stuff that people can look forward to kind of change up their games. So we're working on that right now. That hopefully it'll be out before the end of the year, and we'll just keep plugging away at it as long as people are interested.
That's awesome. Are you going to offer the version 1 on sale on your website, beadlegrimm.com?
Yes. It's we're going to ship to the Kickstarter backers first. That's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, and then it'll eventually go on sale on the Beadle and Grimm's website, and it will also go into retail stores. So hopefully you'll be able to find it in your local game store.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're maxed on time.
Okay. Fair enough.
Before we leave, is there anything you would like to tell our fair audience in camera 1 about like what you have going on at the con that they can possibly see you at before the end? Or
I thought it was camera 1, but now camera 1's gone green.
2 is there. Yeah.
Hi. How are you? I'm not very good at this, so I'm figuring it out as I go. So I mean, at the con this weekend, we have a big announcement later today about a Magic the Gathering launch. That's on the Hasbro stream at I think 5 o'clock today. And then on Saturday, we're doing a panel about a lot of the things that we just talked about the turning RPGs into a live play experience. And then we have a Faster Purple Worm Kill live show at 4, I think, on Saturday. So if you're around, please come out. We would love to have you.
Amazing.
And that's
so
it.
much, Bill.
Cool, man.
It's been
really appreciate it.
It's always good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you again, man.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it.